then created these synonyms. They have all this data related to vertical searches. They have all this search history of their users. They're now doing autocompletes so they can anticipate what you're writing. And the bottom line is they used to rely on all this data that was out there that was supplied by the websites. But now, because they've been searching these websites for, I don't know, 8 years, 9 years, 10 years, they have their own data based on the search algorithm that they built. And now they can start searching the algorithm in a more deep manner. And they can start compartmentalizing their data so they can give you results. So instead of saying, you know, who won the 1956 World Series? Instead of giving you a website with the answer, they'll just give you the answer. We already know that because it's in our data. So instead of wasting your time and making you have another click to go to the website, we're just, there it is, boom. And so this is where they start to get into this idea of basically machine intelligence. What they're transitioning into is smart search, universal smart search. This isn't about finding websites. That's a component of it, but it's become larger than that. Now, we're just giving you answers to whatever you're looking for. And we're also starting to associate who you are, where you are, with the results we're going to give you. It's not just, I'm in California, I'm searching for auto dealers. Now I'm in New York and searching for auto dealers. Those are two different search results. We know you're in New York already. We already know you're in California. Why give you the result for, you know, the other side of the country? So they're getting a lot smarter about that. And then this 08 phase is when they got the Google search app, which means mobile. And then a lot of this stuff moving forward is mobile focused. Again, voice search, you wouldn't do that on a desktop. That's mobile. Google Instant, I'm not exactly sure what that is, but I think it has more to do with knowing your location. And then they add in voice search on desktop, search by image, where they bought a company that had a really good find a similar image thing, and it added it in. So now, you know, you can upload an image to Google through Chrome, and it'll find other instances of that. And it'll say also other similar images. That was a technology they bought and added it in.
Google Instant is when you're typing into the search engine, it automatically brings up the other searches.
That's what it is?
Yeah.
Okay. And the knowledge graph is more of kind of an advancement on that universal search, where they're going into their big data set. It's their own data, and saying, we know that you were looking for Martin Sheen, and here's the top 10 movies he's in, right? So it's giving you not only links to his bio, but also giving you what they think is going to be the information that you're most looking for. And none of this is necessarily linking to a website anymore, right? You're just getting the answers right off of Google. And
where does Android fit on the graph? Android?
Android was
Voice search.
Right in here. I mean, the Google search app was kind of like the beginning, I think, of Android, and then they built it into the whole operating system. This stops it at 13. Now we're 2 years later, so we'd be about here. And really, what's happening here is more mobile stuff. But the big thing was this mobile getting, where they I don't know if you guys have heard that term. What they did is they had a search engine that was built on desktops. And they realized that there was a big difference between a desktop user and the results they wanted and a mobile user. And they also, I think they wanted to put a little bit of pressure on developers, the website developers, to do better mobile content, because everyone was on their phones, and yet they're getting these kind of crap websites that you can't use on the phone. So I don't know how much that had to do with it, probably less than they're just trying to create a good user experience for their users. So they separated off desktop and mobile now, essentially. So if you search a desktop on a desktop computer now, you're going to get one set of results. If you do the same search on your phone, you're going to get another set of results. They might match up depending on what you're searching for, but it's essentially two different search results.
Quick question: the graph
What is that implying? Market share or its growth in size? What's the gray line?
I think it's just showing their growth, like they're stepping
Well,
up.
all their service offerings.
It's just like
or-
they're getting deeper and deeper
Okay.
with what they do. Somewhere in this whole thing is Google Plus, which we didn't mention. That's been like a fail for them for the most part. I think they haven't really been able to figure out how to leverage that. And that's kind of interesting. To me, it marks kind of a rethink in Google. That and the fact that now they're broken up their company into these different smaller companies. And I think they've gotten too big and they're taking a step back and saying, you know, when we were at our best, we were really focused on one thing. We weren't trying to do everything. And when they got into Google Plus, I feel like they felt threatened by Facebook. They wanted a piece of that action, and they just didn't do a really good job. It was it was kind of a mess. It's still kind of a mess. And I don't think they really know what they want to do with it yet. I think there's probably people in the company that want to just trash it. But my thinking, I always thought that what they were going to do is they were going to put social indicators into search results. So if I have a big community of friends or colleagues, I could start to get search results that they thought were valuable or that they would want to share. And I think they were starting to do that, but I think they also have so many other social indicators in their algorithm already. Like if stuff is being shared on Facebook and Twitter, they already know it. So they can put those indicators in their search results. So and because theirs was not as used as much as those other two, it became less valuable, that data. So I think I'm kind of speculating. They don't share all this stuff, like their strategies.
Although I have to say they are doing more kind of consolidating their Google business offerings, so that when you go into a Google business account, that's where you have your local, that's where you really should, you know, as a business, set up your YouTube channel. There's events and that sort of thing, and all of those get kind of, it gets moved back to search, even though it's still part of the communities, but I think it's kind of pushing it into your Google search app and making sure that a business, especially a brick and mortar, that's, you know, has physical location and everything.
Is there any way we could just pull up a search real quick, just to show people? I think most people already know. Like, just type in like Tom Cruise. We'll do a funny one. So now she starts typing. See, it like comes up. That's
teeth.
Google knows.
Movies, network, teeth.
Just hit enter, hit that.
I want to hit teeth.
Yeah, but I wanted to show them.
Okay.
So if you guys do this on your phone, you'll see it probably does something.
It might actually give you something.
So the search algorithm is different depending on the device.
Okay, so yeah.
That's right.
So this is more of a desktop search. And then, yeah, it's very similar. So, okay, so like I go, if on my mobile phone, right, it's got Tom Cruise as a black, and then it goes right into his movies and then more information. It's very different landing page.
It didn't start with news.
Yeah, news wasn't even on there. They show his height is 1.7 meters. That's the first piece of information about it.
That's really tall.
But it's in meters on mobile, but it's in inches.
You think it's based on the user profile?
On mine, yeah, it might be. I was just in Costa Rica.
Actually,
see, that's it.
Julia's logged in and you're on your so there's two different
So
profiles.
there's two different profiles. Yeah.
So
That's crazy.
Yeah.
So anyway, it's gotten so complex. I mean, they're putting out these search results based on, you know, what they've learned and what they have and their big algorithms. But what's crazy is it's gotten so big. There's no one really knows how to, you know, you can't just go in and say, we don't like the way the Tom Cruise search results are showing up. Let me call Google and have them fix it. That's not going to happen. Like it's way too complicated for that, these huge algorithms. And so it was kind of interesting and unprecedented, I think, is that the business has become this thing of machine intelligence. It's become this huge computer program. And you're no longer dealing with a company and people. you're really dealing with a robot. You're dealing with this vast thing called machine intelligence. So if you want to make a change to how you're showing up, you have to understand how to change your content that you're creating, how it's being presented out to the interweb, and then hope that Google picks it up correctly. But there's no way, with a few exceptions like your accounts, you can proactively update your accounts. But in terms of how you're showing up in the search results, it's really based on working with the algorithm, knowing what the algorithm is going to do, trying to anticipate what the algorithm is going to do, and then creating content accordingly. So this idea of SEO is also changing, because it's not really even search anymore. It's machine intelligence. But if you're online, the basic fundamentals don't change. Your website is your piece of real estate that you're building on. That's where you have online equity. That's where you want to put your effort. And you want to have analytics on there, because that's going to tell you what's going on. If you want to have an understanding of what Google's doing and how it's finding your site and how people are getting your site, you want to use Google Analytics. But you also have to take a step back and look at the whole big picture. Can you do one more search for me?
Sure.
This is a little bit of adaptive versus responsive. And then DS there.
Well,
There you go, right there, boom. So that's my website. I win, I'm a winner. So this is the top search result, and it's not, see, they're giving you the answer, sorry. They're giving you the answer here. So Google somehow decided that my answer to this is the definitive answer in the entire universe. So I get to show up here, number one. If you're trying to win the SEO game, if you're trying to win the content game, obviously this is not a highly searched term or phrase, but the more of these you can get, the more authority you're going to get, the more you're going to win the kind of free traffic to your site, free recognition, exposure gains. So if you know that you're working in a world that has specific terms that people are using to find businesses like yours, the more really good, high quality, unique content you can present out to the world, the more you're going to get found, and you're not going to have to pay for it. So this is a free result for me. I get free traffic off of that.
So did Google just pluck that off your website?
Yeah.
How did it end up there?
They put it in their database, and they present it as a quote, like a definitive answer to what that is.
So as they're calling your website and other websites,
Yeah,
they just said, on this particular topic,
yeah,
this looks like the one that we want to show our visitors.
that's right.
Cool.
Yeah,
Do you-
it's cool, but it
do you
opens
think
up all kinds of questions. Like, what about copyright?
Yeah.
I guess it does give me credit here, though, right? So it's credit, so it's
Kind of
like,
like cool.
and number 4, you came up on the forefront.
yeah.
Now you, do you think or know that you've written an explanation that's closest to people's, how they're gonna question it, and that came up? Do you know the criteria that helped you get there?
Yeah, relevance and authority, the two key factors.
Okay, so you think
It's
your
just
authority as
SEO,
far
it's
as
just-
reference?
Right, so other people had referenced this as being definitive. So what we did is we tweeted it out. What we tell everyone to do: write a really good, high quality page, make it relevant to what you're talking about, make sure you got the keywords included, make sure that it's unique. You're not just copying someone else's and patching it back together. Be thoughtful when you create the content, and then push it out social media, email, etc. If more people click on it, find it, go to it, maybe even share it with their friends or retweet it, then you start to build authority. So the two key factors haven't changed: relevance, authority. Is it relevant to what they're searching for, and have you established authority from that too? And then so this is what the Google's doing, and we haven't really gotten into analytics much. which is a monster, but if you have the time and patience to dig into it, it will show you whether these things are working and how you're getting the traffic.
So how does the algorithm updates like Hummingbird, how does that relate to this timeline? Is that going to be one of the latter editions, or is it a different?
Hummingbird?
Yeah.
Hummingbird was right at, I think, 2012.
Right.
I think it's actually when this graph came out was when the Hummingbird kind of was concerning everybody. You know, you might have heard of like, God, it was like Panda, what was the other one? Penguin, Panda. So people realized way back then what they were doing. They realized that it was based on inbound links and keyword density. And when it was at its infancy, the search engine was pretty simple to game. You could be like, all right, all I need to do is buy a bunch of inbound links to this page and stuff it full of a bunch of keywords, and I'm going to come up to the top. And it worked. And then people started doing crazy stuff, like they would put an entire bottom of the page would just be white text, white on white. You couldn't read it, but it had all the keywords in there. And then they would keyword stuff, the keyword meta data, et cetera, et cetera. Slowly, Google's figured out all that gaming out and proved it out. And they hate those guys, and they want to get good search results. And so you get penalized if you're doing that stuff. And I mean, they've had now grown like wildfire. They have some of the smartest programmers in the world, and they have this immense and sophisticated algorithm. And what I tell people is, don't even think about trying to game search. Don't even think about trying to beat the algorithm. You never will. It's as soon as you have a trick, like a silver bullet trick, they're going to figure it out 6 months later, and boom, you're going to fall to the bottom. Your search results are just going to tank. So just focus on quality, relative content. That's the key. Anyway.
Now we're going to flip it all around.
Okay.
So, just really quickly, so Google has provided this freemium service since 2005, and Google measures the following. But I want to back up because we asked 3 questions when we posted out about doing this whole series for the month of September. And so I'm going to re-ask those 3 questions. And here they are. How many people have a website? Tony, I know you have a website too.
Too busy taking notes. That's all good stuff.
How many people, we have it on camera too. How many people have Google Analytics set up in their website? Okay. And now how many of you can actually read what's going on there? Oh, so what are you doing? So really simply, what Google Analytics does is they're kind of like your little personal journalist, right? They get the who, what, when, where, and how. And I forgot why, but who visits your website? What were they doing on your website while they were visiting? When they visited, or when you get the most visitors, that sort of thing. Where they arrived from. Geographically, where they arrived from. What were they doing before they arrived there? What site were they on? What search engine were they on? What social media platform were they on? And then how they're interacting with your content. And this is all really important information. And so what I do with clients is I make sure that they do 2 things. A, that they put Google Analytics on their website. And B, that they actually kind of ask themselves some questions as far as what they want their website to do and what pages they really want people to go to, what pages people are going to go to. So Matt was talking about the difference between a desktop and a mobile. So on a desktop, you want to give certain kinds of information, and on a mobile, really the information that you want to give is telephone number, and how to get to where that particular business is. Oops, I went backwards instead of forwards. So this is something that you guys probably already know then. Why should you install Google Analytics? So installing Google Analytics the moment your website or mobile app is set up provides optimum information from moment one. And do I need to go over this? Because it looks like people already have Google Analytics set up. But there are some changes.
You should do it so you have it on film.
So this is the very beginning, how to create a Google account. So obviously you have to have a Gmail account as well. And you put all this information in and it'll take you to your business account. But I'm already in there, so this is what it will look like. I want it to go into the 4 different, there's actually 4 different components now to the Google Analytics. So setting it up for your website, setting it up for mobile, for an application, and also there's a premium account that you can set up as well. And then here I have several accounts set up, so I'm just going to go to one of them. And this is what it looks like in the background. You have your account ID, what it is, your user management, so who you're giving access to your analytics.
Julie, could you just back up that one page? I looked at all those the different check boxes.
Yeah.
I'm just seeing this for the first time. What do all these different check boxes mean?
So you can see that there's different ways that Google is grabbing the data and providing the data, and also who the information is going to. So Google products and services, share Google Analytics data with Google to help improve Google's products and services. So it's helping them to understand what you're looking for in your reporting and increasing that capability. Logging in for technical support, giving the marketing specialists and sales specialists. So oftentimes, like if you're doing Google AdWords, there's people in the background and all of a sudden you'll get a phone call from somebody who says that they're a Google specialist and says, hey, I see that you're utilizing Google AdWords. You're doing a pretty good job. They never tell you you're doing a horrible job. This really sucks. We really need to help you out.
So it's basically just authorization to Google.
Authorization
you can see all this
utilize
stuff.
the information. Yeah. And you can uncheck all of those things as well. And not give them. And then this is the change history. This kind of tells you what things have been changed in the period of time as far as setting up filters, giving access to other organizations. So oftentimes there will be a, like a media organization, like saying you didn't New Haven Register, and they're saying, oh, we want access to your analytics so that we can push information in that says that we've done our online advertising and where this advertising is going to on your pages. So an example of that. I'm going to go back to like the basic stuff in a minute. this is super cool. So just as an aside, throughout the rest of the month, we're going to really dig deep into here. But I just wanted to show this really, really quickly as far as how we're getting. Oh, and we still have to talk to George about getting that crappy stuff out of there. Referral spam. We're going to talk about referral spam too. Yeah, gross, huh? But this is the New Haven Register. And this is their banner advertising. And we did banner advertising with them for what, like a week or so?
Yeah.
A little over. But here it is, New Haven Register banners. So we can tell how working with them for a week, how many clicks that sent over to our website, basically.
Now, did you do that with an event, or did you do that as just page?
Just this page.
It's a banner, and then.
Oh, no, you're talking about event in the Google Analytics.
Yeah.
We did not do it as an event in Google Analytics.
Because you're tracking, this is inbound to your site, not to their site. Okay.
Yep.
So you posted a banner on their website, and this is the traffic you got.
That we got from them.
And they only gave us 50,000 clicks or 50,000 impressions. So
And then we
wasn't
can
up there
see
long.
within that period of time as well, how social, not paid social,
okay.
organic, yeah, there we go, has worked for us. So there's Facebook, winning the game, and Twitter. And then we can go into, we don't have Google AdWords set up for this particular account.
Now, with your Facebook and your Twitter, is this just gross into the whole site? Again, it's not specific to anything you're putting out in Facebook and Twitter. It's any traffic that's coming to
It's
Facebook.
any traffic, well, it's any traffic coming organically, but then we also track the advertising separately as well. So those.
But would this include anything if you did like a specific organic traffic with specific, landing page, a campaign that was?
Yeah, so we'll track it by the page as well. And we're actually talking about that at 2 o'clock today. We have landing pages that we set up that we're sending traffic to.
At 2 o'clock.
No, internally about this particular client. Yeah. You're not.
Sorry, you have to come back at 2 o'clock.
I didn't watch us work with a client. But yeah, I mean, we are setting up specific landing pages. We're working to see how those landing pages work out. Does anybody need to know how to set up Google Analytics on a WordPress site? I didn't know how in the beginning people work, so I just threw these things up here.
Use the code, you have to
Yes.
type in the code, right? So this
What's
would be
that?
better. Google Analytics give you a code to put on the PHP, right?
Yeah, they give you a code, but then the other thing too is it's like I've been using this particular plugin,
And you just associate it with your account.
and we just associate it with the account, and we just throw the UA code in there.
But you can also just, if you know WordPress, just put it in your header file. Copy and paste the code and put it in the header file.
What's the plugin, Julie? I'll send out the presentation because it's only like 10 slides, and we also have it on Google Hangout as
If you
well.
just search Google Analytics on WordPress, you'll find it.
And usually they have I would say the most popular, it ends up being the best. This one I think is, it's Google Analytics, and the author is Kevin Silvestri or something like that, right here, Kevin Sylvester. And we have that on a lot of our WordPress sites. So it's not going to use a different one. Or you just
We do it
work on
manually,
one,
but
you do
the
it
thing
manually.
is, if you're gonna do plugins, as like a word of caution, if it's a free plugin, you have to look at the ratings. And our rule of thumb is we only install plugins that have a high install number and the high ratings, and they're from a reputable developer. Because some of these plugins come with all kinds of bad stuff, and WordPress doesn't always do the best job of weeding those guys out. So you can actually just install a plugin that can be on your site.
Where they're putting on their own AdWords into your site.
Yeah, they're spamming somehow, or they're
spamming on stuff onto the site.
right. Or there'll be some kind of thing in there that says, you know, after 60 days, our graphic link to our site shows up. And then 2 weeks later, the client's like, why do I have an ad for so-and-so on my site?
Right, yeah.
Nothing's free.
Lots of free.
It's free.
Nothing is free.
Except for digital media sync.
So then, a couple of things that are especially important to me, and then I'll go into some of the other things that are important as far as what you're looking at on a dashboard, is who you want to give admin access to. So a lot of times people will have an organization or another business put their Google Analytics on, and they're the only ones that have access to their Google Analytics. And then when they want to work with somebody else or bring it in-house or that sort of thing, all of a sudden they don't have Google Analytics. This is mostly small organizations, but it has happened in large organizations too. And all of a sudden they don't have access to their own Google Analytics. So you want to be really careful as far as making sure that you have access to your own Google Analytics, no matter who you give admin access to. And there's different levels of admin access as well that you can provide. I think that everybody who owns a business should have a very basic working knowledge of what Google Analytics is and how it works, and never give it over to somebody else fully. Because when you want to bring it back in for whatever reason, you're pretty much stuck. And I've worked with several people that we've had to track down their Google Analytics, or we've had to switch things around somehow in order to kind of like back out of where, you know, the previous person was.
It's a valid point. I have 2 clients in the last 3 months that they actually paid someone to set up their Google Plus site, analytics, all that stuff, and then they came along and they didn't want to use them anymore, and we couldn't figure out. I submitted through Google Webmasters to get the site changed, and we ended up just building it out, so I ended up paying for it twice.
Wow.
Because
And really that's what happens is, you know, we're talking about, it's, you know, a big monster machine, and yeah, you submit, so you can't like just call somebody. I mean, you can. I've called people, but they
don't know it.
They can't do anything.
And it's true with any channel, any social channel. Like LinkedIn is another one that's
Oh
very
yeah,
common.
you should have you should make sure that if you're the one who owns the business, and even giving it to an employee as well, you know,
Or
it all comes back.
Make sure that you ask the right questions. We have someone else do it. Like, work with a reputable company, but like what we do is we do what we call our one sheet, whereas we're doing a full thing from scratch, everything, social, analytics, website, all that. We start with a Google email, our Gmail address, and we link everything through that we can to that Gmail address, and then we put everything on one sheet.
That's right.
And we save it as a locked PDF, and we send it to them. I'm like, you own this.
Yeah, this is
know that you own this.
Yeah.
We're going to be using it, but if we ever go away, you can hand this off to the next person. And we just do that as I think as an honest business practice. We don't own it. You know,
we do the same thing also with the WordPress admin site, all that. You know, their social sites.
Domain name. Yeah, I don't know. I can tell you how many people got screwed up on their domain names. Their developer owns their domain name.
Yeah.
I'm like, you can't let the developer own your
The
domain
hosting.
name.
Yeah, so Matt, you never would email that stuff, you could always put it in a locked PDF.
Which answer do you want? No, Since we're being recorded, yes, I always.
That's the best practice.
Yeah, so you typically don't want to email them, or if you email, like, so I have a lot of people that are on G-Talk with me a lot, or texting them, and I'll say, here's your username for this, I'm gonna text you the password.
Mm-hmm.
And then they have it, so it'd be really hard for someone to stitch those two things together. But, you know, a locked PDF, pretty safe. That's what my accountant uses, you know.
Okay. So since we got about 5 minutes and we're a little further along as a class than I had thought. So I just want to go over a couple of things and then kind of get a little bit of feedback. We have an idea of what we're going to be doing over the next few weeks as we dive deeper into the actual analytics and doing reports and that sort of thing. Has everybody set up their dashboards?
Why would you do that?
So it's basically to get the information that is really, really, really important to you. So here with this particular client, we have goals set up and that sort of thing. But with this particular client, we're really interested in 8 towns. This is my map. So we want to see how many new sessions there are within those 8 towns and what kind of things there are that can boost that. So this is actually just a very simple setup on the dashboard. As I scroll down, it gets a little bit more robust, and then I have other dashboards up here as well that I'm looking at. But I want to see how we do a lot on Facebook and Twitter. So from my dashboard, I want to see how people are doing on Facebook and Twitter. I want to see how many people are going to the landing page that we have set up for them to go to. I want to see what cities they're coming from. And if I see that there's, I'm interested in New Haven, not so interested in Samara, New York, Cambridge, but West Haven I am, and Hamden and Milford. So I'm going to dig deeper into that eventually. So there's different dashboards for different reasons. So that's really something where you're just taking a quick snapshot of what you want to look at.
Can you do an automated report of just the dashboard? You can.
Yes.
So under export, right?
You can. So you can export and you can do a PDF, which I love. I hate having to do CSV files.
Well, PDFs are good to send to clients too.
Yes. The other thing, just really quickly, that's export. I wanted to do email. So this is what you're talking about, the automated report.
Right.
So if I were to take a snapshot of the dashboard and do this on a weekly basis, say I want to look at it daily for some strange reason. I can do daily, weekly, monthly, quarterly. I can do all of this. And so I can just set up any of these. Pick the frequency, the day of the week, who it's going to, what the attachment is. I put a little note here, and I send it off. This is going to send a report to whomever I want to send that report to till the end of time, or until I shut it off.
But just to be clear what the dashboard is, right? You can, whatever data is critical to your campaign.
Yeah, so anything that's within this area that I'm particularly interested in. So say I've seen a shift into mobile, and I want to see how people are interacting with mobile. And I want to add more information. Well, this is all stuff we'll get into the next few weeks.
Over the next few weeks, you're gonna get into the goal set?
Yeah, the goal set, the comparisons, the funnel flow,
Page views.
yeah, just everything.
The email does have in the advanced options, the timing, so if we can just take
Yeah.
a couple minutes with it.
So say I wanted to bring this into the dashboard. I can just go to the add dashboard, select the dashboard that I want to use. If I want it as a timeline or as a table or both. And now it's up on the dashboard.
And you can drag and drop those components.
Yep.
On the dashboard.
On the dashboard.
Oh, yeah.
Move things around depending on like what you find most important.
That's your executive summary right there.
So as a business owner, or at least a website owner, you want to think about what is really important to you as far as how your website is working to bring customers in and how people are interacting with your website. And the other thing too is the paths that people are taking to get to where you want them to go. I worked with a client where they believed that their landing page was in a really good place as far as how people were moving towards it and how they were clicking through and that sort of thing. And then we looked at his analytics and we noticed that there was a couple of extra clicks that really didn't have to be there, that the information should have been moved up, that you had to scroll down to get to where you were downloading something. So it was really kind of clunky. So we actually redesigned the landing page. And we also looked at the way that people were getting to that landing page, because oftentimes, people don't just go from a tweet, go to the landing page, do what you want them to do, download something, sign up, that sort of thing, and then they're gone. We found that with one particular client, it was it's a Sana med spa, and they do plastic surgery and that sort of thing, that people are kind of hemming and hawing, they're looking at information, they go to where you want them to go, but then they kind of back out to get more information. They want to know more about the doctors. They want to know more about the procedures. They have questions. They're not sure about the financing, that sort of thing. So we were finding that people were going to the website 10 times before they actually, called up or, signed up or that sort of thing. So you want to take a look at what's going on there as well. So one of the things that we did there is when we had them sign up, we changed the wording so that it says free consultation. So that way you can do all of these things that they're worried about. You can take care of that. You can meet the actual doctor. You don't have to pay for meeting the doctor. It's a free consultation. And you can ask questions about the procedure as well. You sign up on the form. You say what a good day and time is for you. Somebody will contact you, that sort of thing. And we were getting much better return on the signups by that point. So taking away some of the questions, understanding what some of the questions or what some of the fears are, and then pulling away from that. And these were all things that Google Analytics was able to provide as well. We were understanding what people were looking for and looking at. Another example that's really simple is I came in to an orthopedic group, and they were doing AdWords, and they were basing it on keywords, basically. And one of the keywords that they were using was the word spine. And they weren't understanding why there wasn't a lot of clicks to the ads. Well, people don't say my spine hurts. People are saying my back hurts or I have back pain. So we switched it up. We switched that up. Plus we did some display advertising as well, right? So we were doing some advertising where people were kind of holding their back, where people were moving better, that sort of thing. And we did some video as well. So we switched up all that advertising, and we actually ended up saving a ton of money on the AdWords. So the people who were doing the AdWords where they were just doing keywords, they were spending so much money on words that were expensive and useless. Whereas now we're using display, we're using video, and we were spending, $2 or $3 for a keyword, we're now spending $19.6 for a video clip. It's a big difference.
That's a happy ending, isn't it?
And that's where we will end.
Yeah, so why don't we leave it there? Have you guys got any questions or ideas?
To your point, Julia, what also I found with when you're tracking your advertising like that is it makes your time much more productive, because now you're going to work on the things that work instead of work. If you got 30 things that you're working on and you find only 5 of them are working, now all of a sudden your time becomes much more productive to get much more results.
Exactly.
So
Yeah.
And the thing that I'm constantly amazed by when I look at mine or anyone else's is it's not what you thought.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Always.
It's actually a long way from what you thought it
Always.
was.
Yeah.
So the clearest intent is one thing, but user experience is something
It's
else.
totally different.
And that's the biggest sort of learning.
And that really is that, you can say, well, I think for my business that we need to do this to get people to our website and to do what we want them to do. And then when you look at what people are actually doing, it just totally flips the equation 100%. And that's why Google Analytics is so very important, because you really want to see what people are doing, how they're getting there, how long, and sometimes you can almost see the frustration if somebody is going through a website trying to look for what they're actually, want to get to.
Can you elaborate on that?
So, yeah, I would think like the Asana example, that was the plastic surgery. So you're seeing that people are very tentative, right? They're spending a lot of time before they perform whatever action it is that, plus it takes a lot of, when somebody makes a decision, it's very expensive. It's a change, a big change, even if it's just like, oh, I want to get rid of my chin, or, a section of my belly or something like that. They go through a decision process. Yeah, it could be anxiety about the product and that sort of thing. So if you're pulling away those anxieties and fears by making it easier to go through the process of getting the information that you want and need in order to make that particular purchase or go for that particular service.
Well, plus, like you're gonna cover the next couple of weeks is the goal of the website. So you're trying to sell something on the website,
Yeah.
or you're just trying to get a lead from it, and it makes a difference on how it's set up, and that makes a big difference.
Yeah, where in the funnel are you?
That's right.
As far as that website is concerned.
And that funnel changes over time too.
The funnel
Some of the
does
campaigns we've been working on,
Yeah.
we'll start with advocacy and then we're shifting towards more direct action. So depending on what ideas you're selling, what products, services, or in case of, surgery, some things involve multiple touches to create a response. So all different.
So, some question, would you always advocate that if for client, in the case of the analytics, that you get an account set up in their name? In which case, in the case as far as them owning their data, if it's their email account.
Yeah, I can answer that pretty well, just creating a Gmail address that it's anchored to in their name.
But I just mean specifically setting one up for them if they didn't have one and
Yeah, that's what.
Oh, yeah.
That's
Yeah,
Gmail account
absolutely.
is under the client's name.
Yeah.
And we use it to log into their stuff. And then what I'll do to make our lives easier, once I have that set up, the first admin that I add is our other generic email. it's a little complicated, but so I have one email that I can use to manage all of our accounts. But I set a client email up, and then I make my main email an admin onto that account.
Right.
So if we ever, we ever
so
split paths, and they just make me a non.
this is my account. So although each of the business owners here are the main admins, I'm also an admin on these accounts as well. So I have access to all the information, but if they turn this over to somebody else,
They can turn you
they
off.
can turn
They still
me
have
off,
access to those, right?
yeah.
And you'll find like bigger companies where you get into their analytics and you'll see that there's like 20 people or 30. Have you seen that? You're
Yeah.
like, wow,
Yeah.
there's a lot of exposure here. Yeah, because some people, they have a history and they don't know, no one on the company side knows how you even turn it on.
Who's got the key?
Yeah.
Yeah,
And who needs the keys? I don't even know who needs the keys.
All right, let's leave it at that. And next week we're taking a deep dive into page views and performance in there. Chris, have you got something you want to throw out? Come
I
on.
was gonna ask you guys how you go about pricing, tracking the analytics. Is it like a monthly service? Do you add it into a bigger package? Or is it something you throw in or?
We just included in the bundle of client services that we do. I would think pricing it independently might be difficult.
It's part of every retainer that we have,
Yeah.
analytics, but we have a retainer minimum. So like analytics alone, without doing some other work, probably isn't worth it. Like,
It's just like look but don't touch.
right.
right.
So
It's like, I see that there's a problem here.
if
but
we
there's
have
nothing to do.
some kind of marketing goals set up for the business, it usually involves creating content, running social media campaigns, running AdWords campaigns, etc. So we're doing a bucket of work, and the analytics is how we prove whether or not we've been successful.
That's how I use it. It's the confidence builder for what you're charging them.
Exactly. That's how you test and measure.
It also gives you approach to helping them with problems and saying, here's something else you need to steer at.
That's where you start.
This is where we're helpful.
It's where you end. The first thing you do is you look at the analytics, then you implement, and then you look at.
And often you get started, like what Glenn says, you get started with a project and you take your retainer and you get started and the customer's like, this is what I want, this is what I want. So you build your pages, your content,
Yeah.
and then it doesn't do what it's supposed
It doesn't
to.
work.
And then you can say to them, okay, this is what we need to do. And now
This is
they're
how we have to
vulnerable to the
change
fact
course.
that, well, we need to go over here and do this. And then you get results and it kind of shifts their.
It's really
Sure,
important
please.
to show your clients what's going on. A lot of my clients don't want to know about it, so they just shift responsibility to me, which is fine. But because it's presented in a very technical way, a lot of people just shy away from it because it doesn't give them any straight answers. So what we do a lot is dissect it and figure out, well, what's the best course correction as a result from it. Because Google doesn't do a very good job of presenting the in an intuitive way either, so that makes the insight role more critical.
It's not very
You got it.
conversational. And it was weird because there was a period of time where Google would do kind of monthly reports. I don't know if you saw them, but for a few clients, I would get these monthly reports that were very conversational, so to speak.
Quill.
But it wasn't Quill. Originally, Google was doing it for a while, and then they backed out of it.
Was it a
But
human writing them or is it a robot writing it?
It was a robot writing it, but it was like conversationally.
Really?
It was like, so this month you did this, and this was the outcome, and you might want to try doing this and that sort of thing. So it was like these reports that I think that they were just an introduction to a conversation, maybe to like a Google specialist or something like that. But I think that's where it was like, oh, is
Pretty
there
soon
something
they're
else
gonna
that
have
actually
just like
do this?
Google Help. It's just gonna be robots. You call them up and they're like, hello, Julia. How are you doing today? We have access to analytics.
One product I've been using a bit lately is called Quill Engage. They did have a freemium that I think has expired, but it was a great way of you would just link your analytics to it, and it would produce weekly and monthly reports about the insight. So it had this insight bot that was quite good. Did you ever use it? Here's
Yeah, like I have a whole bunch.
Right, and they've just switched to a
A
paid version.
premium version.
Yeah, but it was a good way of, a good tool that just interpreted everything that's going on and gave you simple solutions. Yeah. All right, so let's wrap it up there. Thanks for coming. Thank you. Same place, same time next week.
Same bad time.